What's up, everybody? Derek Denny, Speeding Bastards. I am in Martinsville, Indiana. Yes, that Martinsville. If not the home of, one of the homes of the Ku Klux Klan in Indiana. So I've heard of horror stories, and since I moved out to Indiana in 2006, a dealer that I worked with out here, a Chrysler dealer, this was what I was told. I didn't hear it, so I don't want to bury anybody. But I heard that they brought in one of those sales teams, in that horrible movie, The Goods. They brought in one of those weekend sales event teams, and they had a couple black guys that worked with this team. And they actually had to tell the sales team that, yeah, those guys won't work in this town. Not that the dealership didn't want them, but that the town wasn't going to accept that. And I was like, this happened within the last 10 years. So anyway, I'm just passing through anyway. I'm not going to be here very long. This podcast is brought to you by Red Bull. Not in the sense that Red Bull paid me money to tell you it was brought to you. It's just without this Red Bull, I probably wouldn't be making this video. So, as such, it's kind of brought to you by Red Bull. I've been a fan of Red Bull for a long time. I talked on the podcast about the girls, the Red Bull girls that pulled up at one of the car dealerships I was working at in New Jersey and gave me my first Red Bull. Which, girl in a white tank top and short shorts, yeah, I'll take your Red Bull. I don't know if they own both Toro Rosso and Red Bull Racing. I believe they do. But, which you can look at that two different ways. It's awesome. They have two F1 teams. They support something I truly love. At the same time, it's like, I pay so much money for this stuff, this shit. Yeah. I pay so much for this that they can buy two Formula One teams. So I guess look at that how you want to. I have to hold my Red Bull through most of my video because my 1990s era cup holders and my 2009 won't hold the Red Bull. So if I take a corner, and I'm on a back road here, so if I take a corner, it'll just dump all over me, or it'll dump out all over the seat next to me. So have to babysit it. I need to build an insert or something that goes in there and holds it. I wanted to talk about driving. That's what I want to talk about. I just got done trying to teach a teenage girl to drive, and unfortunately she's like me, and you can't tell her shit. She won't listen. She knows everything already. She doesn't need me. I'm hoping at some point I'm gonna let her drive this, and I'm hoping the power and learning to control the power will get her to take driving a little more seriously. She falls into that category of, she wanted her license, which a lot of millennials aren't really, it's not really their thing. But it's an independence thing, it's a freedom thing for her. She's not that into the car at the moment. Although her boyfriend told me yesterday, actually at her birthday party, that he wants a high performance sports car, and he has some car dreams. So that's kind of a good sign. He's a bass player as well, so I don't know how music and cars cross over that often. In fact, actually, that's a good podcast topic, because it does, celebrities and cars. There are some legit car guys out there, car people. I'm sure there's women too, but I can't think of any notable, the Seinfelds and the Lenos of the world, that of the female persuasion, that are known for their car collections. But I guarantee you they're out there. But I don't know how to fix it. We're going down the road of driverless cars. We already have driverless cars pretty much all over the interstates now. So I guess an autonomous car is nice, because at least somebody's paying attention, because the driver isn't, no matter what. But so, with that solution coming down the pike, I don't know if the ultimate goal is to just, people aren't going to pay attention and take driving seriously, so let them build a car that'll drive for them. And where does that put me on my motorcycle, for example? So I don't know the answer to these questions. But I would like people to get off the phone. Just get off the phone. And I'm making a video while I'm driving, but my GoPro is suction cupped to the windshield. It's on me. I turned it on before I started driving, and I'm talking. I don't even have to listen back. So this isn't like a phone conversation where I'm listening, talking. This is just a one-way, me talking conversation. That's it. So I don't find this to be very distracting at all. It's no different than when I'm driving listening to music. In fact, it may be easier because I'm focused on something, and part of what I'm focused on is driving and talking about the drive. But anyway, I'm not texting. And I said on the podcast when I was talking about dash setups that my phone is on the dash. I got a little magnetic thing, so I just pop it up there. It magnetically sits there, and boom, good. I usually have Waze on there. I don't now because I know where I'm at, and I'm kind of just driving around anyway. But I don't text. I don't like to talk on the phone. I do talk to Bill with the Bluetooth, but I see so many people, and there's a good vantage point from the motorcycle, and people don't realize this about bikes, I guess, but on the bike, you sit higher than you do in a car because you're on it instead of in it. You're on it. So, I mean, I can see, down into a lot of cars as I'm going by, and it's just everybody is on the phone. Some may be navigating with it or something, but dash mounts are cheap. I got one in here that won't fit. I'll sell it to you. But dash mounts are cheap. They're safe. It keeps your hand off the phone. I mean, when I'm using Waze for my phone on the dash mount, if a text comes through, I usually don't even see it. So I don't even worry about it. It's not like I saw a text and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta make sure I get back to this guy. Just next time I stop, I check my email and my text, and I handle business that way. Hey, this is a 4,000 pound car, probably in that neighborhood, especially with me and gas in it and everything else, my luggage, with 360 horsepower. It's not a phone booth. And I mean, your 170 horsepower Nissan Rogue that weighs 3,000 pounds, 3,500 pounds, whatever it weighs, also not a phone booth. So learning to ride a motorcycle, I will tell you, I became a billion times better driver, and I thought I was a pretty good driver, and I was a good driver. But once you start looking through the world through the eyes of a motorcyclist, and what a motorcyclist has to look for when riding versus what a driver has to deal with, you just become better. So I have actually said I want my daughters to learn to ride also, just because I think you have to be better. You can't just drive down the road and go, oh, pothole, because if you hit a pothole on a bike, you stand a damn good chance of falling off of it. And if you hit that at high speed, that's not just a fall. But either way, I mean, you have to be alert. You have to be alert to what asshole on his phone and a Honda Pilot with an Indiana nursing plate, you motherfucker, was going to pull out in front of you and leave you with about an inch and a half of not totaling your fucking bike. And to give him a little bit of credit, the fucker pulled out in front of me, but he saw me coming up on him because he pulled out right in front of me. He saw this dipshit behind him on full brake, and he decided that was a good time to hit the gas, and he accelerated. So between him accelerating and me hammering the front and rear brakes on an old non-ABS bike, I was that close. I mean, I was looking at the front of his bumper as I was, just because there was nowhere else to look. It was right there. So anyway, and the worst part of that accident, or it wasn't an accident, that potential accident, what should have been an accident, what I would say 50% of the time would have been an accident. I don't want to give myself too much credit, but was the car in front of him pulled out, and that was enough that I would say that guy pulled out in front of me. So I was on the brake lightly at that point because I knew I was going to catch up to that guy, and then the guy behind him pulled out. So luckily I had watched the first guy pull out, so I was slowing down anyway, and then the next guy pulling out, if the guy who pulled out right in front of me in the Honda Pilot with the nurse's plate on it would have, if I wouldn't have had the guy in front of him, I would have just creamed the back of that Honda Pilot. Somebody tries to kill me every time I ride through there. 80% of the time I ride through there, somebody tries to kill me. It's always good to be stuck behind a Toyota Corolla when a cop rolls by. What a feeling. Back to my point of riding just really made me better. And it's a hobby, it's a sport. I said in another video, I'm not a hop on and ride kind of guy. I wear my gear, I wear my jacket, gloves, helmet, long pants. I need to get some like cargo style riding pants that have like Kevlar. But I've actually had an accident in jeans and I survived it, and a little bit of scrapage, but not bad. It was the jeans scraping my skin. Actually, I might have cut a hole in the jean, but it wasn't bad. And I wear boots. That's the one place I get a little lax if I'm running around town running errands, which I don't do very often. I'll sometimes wear shoes instead of boots, like tennis shoes. Most people are like, yeah, whatever. My father's right, and be like, why are you doing that? But he taught me to be safe. I mean, I've always had to wear my seatbelt well before the government told me I should wear my seatbelt. I wear it now. I don't get in a car and go anywhere without a seatbelt. If I get in the car and we had a tree taken down this weekend, so I moved my car behind my neighbor's house because he was out of town. Anyway, and like that trip, I did not have my seatbelt on, and I felt naked. I was just like, it just felt wrong to be driving, out of my driveway, like a 16th or a 32nd of a mile, and then down his alley into his driveway, and it just felt wrong to me. So, but that's credit to my father. That's credit to him making me wear a seatbelt, and my mom. But I always remember him telling me to put my seatbelt on, but I'm sure my mother did also, so I shouldn't take credit away from him. And the same, when I had my motorcycle accident, it was a low speed, washed out the front wheel on grass clippings as I came to a stop around a little curve. So totally my fault. I could bitch about grass clippings on the road, but I'm still the one that gets too much front brake, washed out. And what happened was I was looking into the turn as I was stopping, so I was looking that way, coming up the stop sign, and the front end washed out, and I went face first into the ground. Just wham. So at like 15, 20 miles an hour, face first into the ground on a 700-pound bike with a 270-pound derrick. So that's a lot of weight to just throw into the ground. And I use a modular helmet. And the inside of the helmet, there was a latch, because the modular flips up like 3/4 style, so you can flip it up and flip it down. So there's a latch that had a little piece it was up over, it kind of went that way. That latch dug in right there. I ended up with like 6 stitches or something. And the first thing my father said was, when he found out I got stitches in my face, he was like, was he not wearing a helmet? So it's like, no, the helmet's what did it. But if I didn't have the helmet, wham, that would have sucked. That would have been like facial reconstruction surgery. That would have been nasty. I will take the little scar there that's buried under the goatee and beard anyway. I say goatee, it's a beard now. It used to be a goatee. So, but yeah, that's all credit to my dad. My dad taught me defensive driving. Assume everybody is going to hit you. That's what they're going to do. And yeah, maybe it's made me a little cynical and a little pessimistic, but I, without a doubt, I can find a car that's getting ready to pull out. I can find a car that's getting ready to do something. I think that's how I got that Honda Pilot as fast as I did, because I felt pretty confident I was hitting the back of that Pilot. So once I was done stopping, actually I was so tensed up stopping, I broke my left peg. Just sheared it right off. I didn't even realize it until I was going down the road after this panic stop. So I had put all my weight, I guess, down as I was slamming on the brakes, and I don't even remember, but I just know after that I kept going, and then when I got to stop, I came up to my next stop. I tried to put my foot back on the peg, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't there, and I was like, at that point, I turned around. No, adrenaline was cranking, right? So I nursed it home, got in my car, went back to that spot to look and see if I could find the peg, which was stupid because it's aluminum. So I actually shredded it off. So it was no sense getting it back anyway. I had to buy a new one. But it was just one of those things that when he pulled out and I laid in on the brakes, I prepared for impact, and my goal was to reduce my speed as much as I could for when I hit the pilot. That's how confident I was hitting the back of that pilot. Like I said, he accelerated. I assume, and he did stop because he pulled out and then he was turning. It's kind of you pull out and then you turn. It's a shitty intersection. And he did stop after he turned because I had kind of come to a complete stop just to gather my composure. But I hadn't figured out the peg was broken yet. But it was just one of those things. I was just like, I kind of stopped and the adrenaline was rushing. And I'm like, there's nothing good will come of me talking to this guy. I probably flipped him off. I kind of made a what the fuck kind of hand motion and I rode on. But no, I couldn't imagine me saying anything to him that didn't end up with me wanting to punch him or just swearing at him in front of his kids if they were in this pilot. I don't know. And I was just like, he can't do anything. I guess if I had figured out that the peg was broken, then I could have, bitched at him about that. But it was a peg. It's $60 to replace it. I was happy that I didn't hit the back of his pilot. Although I did at one point, as I was panic braking, think, well, maybe this guy would buy me a new Concours. Because I think at that point I was confident enough that I was gonna stop, or I was gonna survive. I knew I wasn't gonna hit him at 45 miles an hour. Wham! I knew I was like, it might hurt a little bit, but I had resolved myself. I'm gonna hit it. I'm going to hit it as lightly as I can. But I mean, you're talking an old bike. You bend those forks under. It doesn't take a whole lot to total a bike like that. So, especially my bike, it isn't worth a whole lot anyway. So I'm like, this will be a good reason to get a new Concours. And I'll admit, I've ridden less since then, but mostly because I can't get out of town and ride. That's why I don't like riding around in town, especially on weekends and stuff. Like if I run errands on a Friday when I'm working from home and I have to run to the post office and stuff, last summer especially, I did a lot of that on the bike because it was just, and there wasn't a lot of traffic midday. So that's where I'm at. I would just like to encourage everybody to drive better. And that doesn't mean drive slower. And it doesn't mean like, oh no, and don't drive scared. Just drive better. Learn what your car will do. Go take a high performance driving course. There's one in Indianapolis, and I need to check back actually today. It's they use minis. I don't know if it's run by Mini. I'm not sure, but it's a teen driver course. They use minis, and I'm going to sign my daughter up for one of those. I might have to pay for it out of my mileage fund, which I use the van money for, or the mileage for work. But I'm gonna have to. I want her to do it. I want her to learn how to handle a car at speed, and she's my daughter, so she'll probably take that and use it on the road. But hopefully she'll mature a little bit. I know a lot about driving a car from doing autocrossing and my dad teaching me how to handle a car at speed. And I did it in a 5-liter Mustang. She'll have the ability to drive this a little bit. So that's what I got going on. This is the Speedy Bastards videocast, vlogcast, solo vlogcast, solo video broadcast, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want to call it. This is what we're doing. So we're going to try and put these out either as much as we can or week to week, take turns, I don't know. We're again, I've said it a million times, we're trying to figure this shit out. We have the desire to bring content, and I think we have content, so we're going to make it happen. We're going to do what we can do. So that's all I got. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.